My ex tried to turn my new girlfriend against me using old screenshots. My name is Alex, I'm 27, and my ex almost destroyed my new relationship without even leaving her house. She didn't show up at my door or stalk me in person. She used screenshots. I dated Sarah for almost 3 years. On Instagram, we were that couple. Travel photos, inside jokes, aesthetic latte dates. In real life, it was constant walking on eggshells. She went through my phone as a joke, threatened to break up every time I disagreed with her, and kept a mental list of every mistake I'd ever made. Toward the end, I wasn't myself. I snapped more, sent angry texts I regretted the second I hit send, said things I'm not proud of. I'm not going to pretend I was perfect. I said some ugly stuff in the middle of ugly fights. After one spectacular breakup makeup cycle too many, I finally left. Blocked her on everything, went to therapy, stayed single for almost a year. Then I met Mia. She was quiet where Sarah was loud, kind where Sarah was sharp. I told Mia from the start that my last relationship had been toxic and that I wasn't some poor innocent victim either. I'd said things in anger I hated about myself. Mia appreciated the honesty. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was building something healthy. No screaming matches, no phone checks, no 3 a.m. accusations. And then, about 6 months in, Mia's energy toward me shifted. She still showed up, still answered texts, but there was a distance, short replies, forced smiles, hugs that felt like they were happening in slow motion. I assumed I'd done something wrong and just didn't know what. Turns out, I hadn't done something wrong recently. My past had just walked in the door carrying receipts. It all came out on a random Tuesday night. Mia came over with that "we need to talk" face that makes your stomach drop. We sat on my couch and she opened with, "I need you to be completely honest with me, even if it makes you look bad." My heart started pounding. She pulled out her phone, opened Instagram DMs, and there it was. A message request from an account I recognized immediately, Sarah's. The first message was almost polite. "Hey, I know this is weird, but I think you should know the kind of guy you're dating." Then came the screenshots. At the top of the first one, my name and picture. Below, a text from me that said, "I don't care if you cry, you're being insane and exhausting." Another, "You're lucky I even put up with you. No one else would." Another, me flirting with someone else in DMs. "If I were single, I'd ask you out in a heartbeat." All real messages, all sent to Sarah 2 years ago at 3 in the morning after she'd spent hours accusing me of cheating on her with my coworker because I liked a photo. "He told me I was crazy and too sensitive whenever I cried," Sarah wrote under one screenshot. "He threatened to leave if I didn't stop bothering him with my feelings. He tried to cheat on me. I caught him messaging other girls. Please don't let him do to you what he did to me." There were more cropped conversations where I looked cold and dismissive, my apologies cut off, my context gone. I could feel Mia watching my face as I scrolled. My mouth went dry. "Did you say these things?" she asked quietly. I swallowed and told the truth. "Yeah, I did, but that's not the whole story." She looked like she wanted to believe me, but she also had the receipts in her hand, weaponized and neatly arranged by someone who knew exactly which version of me would hurt the most. I could have lied, blamed Photoshop, said, "She edited everything." The problem was, most of it wasn't fake. Those were my words. Just not the whole conversation. So instead, I did the only thing that made sense. I handed Mia my phone. "You can read everything," I said, "all of it." I didn't delete those texts because I wanted to remember what I don't want to be again. We sat on the floor next to my bed for almost 2 hours scrolling through old chat backups, full threads, not cherry picked bubbles. She saw the lead up to that "you're exhausting" text. Sarah accusing me of cheating because I didn't answer for 30 minutes while I was driving, calling me names, threatening to show up at my work. She saw me apologize the next morning. "I shouldn't have said that. I was wrong. I'm going to therapy. I don't want to be that guy." She saw the flirty DM I'd sent to another girl. And then the part Sadra didn't show her. It was from the week after. Sarah had officially dumped me for real, while we were On a break, she insisted was permanent, until she changed her mind and claimed it had never counted. Some of the screenshots were edited. You could see where timestamps were cropped, where names were blurred, where Sarah had cut her own most vicious messages out so it looked like I exploded out of nowhere. On one, she'd literally changed the contact name of someone else I'd vented to, so it looked like I was trash talking Mia by name. Mia noticed details I hadn't: slightly different font sizes, misaligned bubbles, whole days missing in the timeline. We took breaks. I told her about nights where I'd driven to Sarah's place at 2 a.m. because she'd threatened to hurt herself if I didn't, about times I'd slept in my car outside her house because she'd locked me out mid-argument and I was too ashamed to go home. I didn't excuse what I'd said. I explained where it came from and what I'd done since. Therapy, no contact, owning my part. I'm not asking you to pretend I never messed up, I told Mia. I'm asking you to look at the whole picture, not the version she curated to make me look like a monster and her like a saint. In the end, it wasn't some dramatic movie scene where Mia instantly forgave me and we kissed in the rain. She went home that night with puffy eyes and said she needed time. I told her I understood, that I'd answer any question she had, that I'd accept whatever decision she made. Meanwhile, Sarah didn't stop. She posted vague stories. Crazy how abusers can rebrand themselves as healed and people eat it up. Tagged nobody but clearly talking about me. She DM'd one of my friends too, trying to recruit allies. For the first time since I'd left her, I stopped ignoring it. I sent Sarah one message: "Stop contacting people in my life. This is harassment. I've saved everything. If you keep going, I'll talk to a lawyer." Then I blocked her everywhere and made my accounts private. A few days later, Mia came over again. She told me she'd talked to her therapist, to her best friend, and to herself in the mirror about what she'd seen. "I'm not going to pretend. I like those old messages," she said. "They hurt to read, but I also saw you apologizing, setting boundaries, leaving, going to therapy. I saw who you were then, and I know who you've been with me." She set some conditions: continued therapy, complete transparency if anything from the past popped up, permission to walk away if she ever saw me slip into the version of myself that weaponizes words. I agreed to all of it. We're still together. We're still figuring it out. I'm not proud of who I was with Sarah, but I'm also not going to let her freeze me in that version forever just because that's the only story that makes her feel better. So, here's what I learned. In the age of screenshots, your worst moment can be screenshotted, cropped, and handed to the person you love the most without context. If your ex took every angry thing you ever texted at 3 a.m. and sent it to your new partner as proof you're irredeemable, would you deny, deflect, or put your whole messy truth on the table and risk losing them, just so you never have to live in fear of your own receipts again?